What if I told you Bugatti once built a Grand Prix car so aerodynamic it accidentally tried to take off mid-race? Meet the 1923 Bugatti Type 32 Tank, a wing on wheels that stunned the crowds, baffled its drivers, and made Ettore Bugatti mutter, "Great plane, mediocre car." Ladies and gentlemen, you know a car is unusual when it makes a crowd of 300,000 French race fans stop mid-baguette and mutter, "Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?" That was the scene in Tours on July 2nd, 1923, when Bugatti rolled out a machine so strange, so short, and so rivet-covered that it looked like someone had parked a First World War bathtub on the starting grid. This was the Bugatti Type 32, the Tank, a Grand Prix experiment so bold that even the pigeons were afraid to fly over it. Before we dive in, a big thank you to the sponsors of my channel. That's right, our YouTube members. Without you, I'd be reviewing my neighbor Bob's 1989 lawn chair collection instead of rare racing legends. You guys keep the lights on, the coffee flowing, and Timmy in just enough pocket change to buy duct tape for whatever project is leaking in his garage this week. In 1923, Automobile's Ettore Bugatti in Molsheim, France, set out to do something no one had dared in Grand Prix racing: win with aerodynamics. The rules capped engines at 2.0 litres. And while rivals like Fiat slapped on superchargers, Ettore Bugatti decided that slippery shapes could make up the difference. The target was the French Grand Prix in Tours, a 22.8 kilometers circuit with long straights that begged for speed. Under Ettore's own direction, his team built a car in just 6 months. They called it the Type 32, though everyone else called it the Tank for its riveted aluminum shell. Its body was shaped like a thick wing, an upside-down airfoil with slab sides and a stubby tail. It had no firewall, the straight-eight engine practically lived in your lap, and the wheelbase was a tiny 78.5 inches, 1.994 meters, about the same as a Bugatti Type 13 Brescia road car. 5 were built, 1 prototype, 4 race-ready. On July 2nd, 1923, they rolled out in French racing blue, driven by Ernest Frédéric, Prince de Cystria, Pierre de Vizcaya, and Pierre Marco. The crowd gasped. Nothing else on the grid looked remotely like them. In a France riding the economic high of the Roaring Twenties, this was Bugatti's big marketing swing. From the start, things got messy. Qualifying wasn't glorious. The cars struggled for pace and poise on the bumpy public roads. The race itself became a saga. On lap 1, de Vizcaya, blinded by dust, missed a turn, punched through a fence and injured spectators. His car was wrecked. Marco retired after 3 laps, de Cystria after 12. Only Frédéric coaxed the Type 32 to the flag, finishing 3rd, 25 minutes behind the winning Sunbeam of Henry Segrave at an average near 112 kilometers per hour, about 70 miles per hour. A Tank was timed around 180 kilometers per hour, 112 miles per hour on the straight. The speed was there. The stability wasn't. The little airfoil body cut drag, but produced lift, especially at the front, so the car went light when you needed it most. Imagine laughing in the face of physics and physics laughing back. Drivers complained about heat and fumes in the cockpit. Without a firewall, oil mist and hot exhaust became your co-pilot. Timmy once said it sounded like his ex-wife's cooking, hot, smoky, and likely to make you crash into something. After Tours, the Tank never raced a Grand Prix again. Ettore, disappointed but not defeated, shelved the Tank layout and immediately pivoted to the longer wheelbase, open-wheel Type 35 of 1924. That car, nearly the opposite of the 32 in philosophy, went on to become the most successful Bugatti racing machine of all time, with a 4-figure win tally. But he didn't forget the lesson. A decade later, Bugatti resurfaced the idea as the all-conquering, fully streamlined Type 57G Tank, which won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1937. The eccentric 32 wasn't erased, it was the first rough draft of a later triumph. The Type 32 borrowed its 1,991cc straight-eight from the Type 30, but added innovations. The single overhead cam engine had 24 valves, 2 intake, 1 exhaust per cylinder, making about 90 horsepower at 4,000 revolutions per minute. It used roller-bearing connecting rods, a first for Bugatti, and fed fuel through twin Zenith carbs with a Bosch magneto ignition. Power went to a 3-speed, rear-mounted transaxle, an unusual layout in 1923 that helped balance weight over the back wheels. The steel ladder chassis was underslung, axles above the frame, dropping the car's ride height dramatically. Quarter-elliptic leaf springs handled suspension duties. One surprising feature, front hydraulic drum brakes, Bugatti's first. Ettore usually hated complicated brakes, but here he tried them on the front wheels while keeping mechanical drums in the rear. The car weighed just 1,433 pounds, 650 kilograms, and stood only 31 inches, 79 centimeters tall. You didn't sit in the car so much as wear it. The Type 32 wasn't sold to the public. After the GP, Bugatti sold 3 to privateers, including Czech racing couple Zdeněk Junek and Eliška Junková. Prices weren't recorded, but comparable GP Bugattis of the time cost tens of thousands of francs, equivalent to $60,000 to $70,000 today. Only one original Type 32 survives in the Cité de l'Automobile, Mulhouse, France, and it's considered priceless. No original has sold in modern times. The closest was a replica built in the late 70s by American Bugatti enthusiast Bob Sutherland, which sold at Christie's Pebble Beach auction in 2000 for $105,000, and that was 25 years ago for a car that wasn't original. If the real one ever went to auction, it could fetch well into the millions. The Type 32 earned a reputation as the car that wanted to fly. French fans joked it was an airplane without wings, and Ettore himself supposedly quipped that he'd built a great plane, but a mediocre car. It was rushed into the GP with minimal testing. One story claims rivets shook loose during shakedown runs. Eliška Junkova's time with the car is legendary. Crowds were stunned to see a woman driving the oddball tank in hill climbs, and she described it as a beast, but once tamed, it could dance. My neighbor Bob swears the tank was built to communicate with aliens because of its shape. I told him that was ridiculous, until I saw Timmy sitting in a wheelbarrow wearing a colander on his head, pretending to reduce aerodynamic drag. The Bugatti Type 32 tank may have been a flawed racer, but it was decades ahead in thinking. It showed the world that aerodynamics had a place in motorsport, even if the first attempt was a little airborne. So here's to the little blue bathtub with racing stripes, brave, bizarre, and utterly unforgettable. Hit that subscribe button, folks, because if you don't, Timmy says he's going to streamline my car with a sledgehammer, and I really like my doors where they are. Stay fast, stay curious, and watch out for neighbors named Bob.